Hello, everybody, and welcome to the meeting. We're going to hang on a little bit and let everybody jump in before we get started. But thanks for joining us this morning. Just let me know, Guy, when we've got a good amount in and we'll get going. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. So what we wanted to do this month with the webinar was kind of give an overview of everything that Visit NC does. We know we have a lot of new partners that come in, and many of our old partners may not know some of the areas in which we cover that we think could be interesting and could be helpful for people. So we'll start off today with an overview of the entire program. All right. So as many of you know, we are part of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. Tourism is economic development. We are one of the 5 branches that the EDPNC covers. It covers business recruitment, is probably the thing most people know. Then it also has a business startup, helps businesses start. We help businesses export their goods to other countries. And we also try and help existing businesses grow and keep them in the state. And then we do the tourism marketing. Now, there's also a business marketing arm of the EDPNC that works with site search consultants and CEOs of companies to try and get businesses, primarily for business recruitment, to come here. They also promote some of the other functions as well. That's the EDPNC. Now, the mission of the EDPNC and why we're a part of it is to improve the economic well-being of North Carolinians. And that's what tourism does. You know, we're here to help people have a better life in North Carolina. Now, the way we do it, our mission breaks it down a little more succinctly. What we do is we try and lead and unite the tourism industry in North Carolina in promoting the state. Guy, if you could, yes. So we unify and lead the state, positioning North Carolina as a preferred destination for travelers. Now, we also do film, we do sports, retire, and we have the outdoor component as well. So we'll talk about all those different things. But really what we are is an amplifier. Partnerships are the key to our success. We work with all 100 counties, every tourism office. We work with the welcome centers across the state, the airports, transportation, any way we can. But what we really try and do is amplify your messages about what's great to do and see in North Carolina and get people to do that. So that's our primary purpose. We're really proud of the fact that we work with so many partners, and we had more than 213 partners join in our programming last year. That represents about 80 of the 100 counties. Partners spend a couple $1 million with us. And the idea there is that if we can do joint buys, cooperative advertising, we can help you extend your dollars, particularly to out-of-state visitors. Out-of-state visitors spend twice as much, stay twice as long, and they're very beneficial. And we know most of the local tourism offices spend most of their dollars on in-state visitors, which are about 40% of the state's visitors. So that makes sense. But where we can really help you with cooperative advertising is to get to those out-of-state visitors coming in. And we also brand the state because it's important. Tourism is huge for the state. These are 2023 numbers. It's the most recent ones we have. We'll have 2024 this spring. But, you know, North Carolina saw more than 40 million visitors, $35.6 billion in spending. Tourism is one of the biggest industries in the state. Tourism specifically employs more than 227,000 people. Hospitality in general employs even more. You'll see different figures on that. We only claim the jobs that visitors bring. So if you're a restaurant, we don't claim all the jobs from a restaurant because some of those jobs are essentially supported by locals. And it's also about $2.5 billion in state and local tax revenues that our residents don't have to pay. So once again, that's improving that quality of life for the people of North Carolina. One thing we're really proud of is that we've climbed up to be the 5th most visited state for domestic travelers. That's really important. It's a very difficult thing to do. And one of our goals is to be the most visited state in the Eastern United States. So that's a goal we're going to continue to push for and try and develop. So we're really proud that we're at number 5 and we're kind of on the heels of New York. You'll see when we talk about different areas, and we'll have everybody come on and speak, but a big part of what we do is leisure travel, marketing, and branding. And that's that goal to become the number 1 leisure destination in the East. We do that right now through the For Real campaign. Scott Peacock's going to get on a little later and talk about that. But that's not all we do. We also have Film NC. Guy's going to talk about that. We want films to come here, spend a lot of money, and then leave. But those films will stay forever, and we can maximize those for set jetting and for people to come and see those places where films were shot as well. We also started Outdoor NC a few years ago, which is really an educational destination stewardship program that really helps people understand the value of our natural beauty and our natural scenic spaces, and tries to help them preserve that and get visitors to do that, not just to inspire them to travel, but to inspire them to travel in the right way. And we also have the Retire NC program, where we position North Carolina as one of the top destinations for retirement, and Sports NC, where we try and get sports people to come. Through amateur sports events. And really what we're striving for is to drive that international and out-of-state visitation. We want to inspire residents and travelers. We want to elevate your messaging and local DMOs and partners across the state, become that premier destination. But we also want to protect the natural beauty of our state and become a top choice for retirement. Now, the ways we do that, we communicate, we raise awareness, we inform, we want to stay relevant, be inclusive, and inspire people. So that's really what we're trying to do with our program. This is really the pattern. We want you to come visit. We want you to stay longer. We're going to do things to try and do that by getting you to experience more things in the state. And we want you to return sooner so you can bring that money back to us. That's the pattern we're looking for. This, I think, is really one of the keys of when people say, well, what is the value of the state tourism office? This shows the likelihood of people to visit the state if they've seen our ads, 36%, versus if they haven't seen our ads. That's the Visit NC advertising. So that's 22%. So you can see these states that are in between where we are in inspiring people if they've seen our ads versus not seen our ads. Those are all our competitors. So if we have the funds to get those ads out and be seen, we're more likely to get those visitors to come. If we can't get the message to those visitors, then we're going to fall behind those other states. And so it's a key that we keep this program and campaign going. The return on investment of our program has always been fantastic. We use a global research firm to track it. It is one of the highest of all that they track. We have a tremendous amount of ad influenced visitor spending. That's the amount of spending done by visitors specifically who saw our ads and were inspired to come. We get the ROI for every dollar we spend. The state gets $310 spent in it. We generate millions of dollars in taxes. But I think the most important thing is for every dollar the state gives us to promote that we can invest in advertising, we're going to bring back $28 in tax revenue to the state and local coffers. So that's tax money coming to us, but going back into the system. So we're actually a revenue generator for the state and for local governments. And that's, I think, an important thing to remember and to promote as we're trying to get more and more funding for us. This is a fascinating slide. So this is market share. We talked about how we were the 5th most visited state in the country. But as you can see, it is a very close race, even between number 5 and number 10. It's all very close. So, slight changes in the amount of reach we can get, the amount of people that see our ads could easily send us down from 5th to much lower than that. And we have a struggle to catch New York, but we do think it's possible. So that just shows you how delicate our position is. And one of the things that makes it even more delicate is we have one of the lowest budgets in the Southeast for any tourism office, state tourism office. And you can see some of our big competitors, Tennessee, South Carolina, those folks have budgets that are double or in some cases even triple to what ours is. We also have one of the smallest staffs of any state tourism office. We think this is important because right now our budget's at 18.9 million, but if we do not get additional funding, we'll drop back to our 11.4 and we'll actually be the lowest budget of any state in the Southeast for tourism marketing, which is a dangerous time to do that right after hurricanes when we have all sorts of perception issues. We really need to get the money out there. And this kind of just shows 20 years of budget. We really haven't increased the budget hardly at all. And if you look at it adjusted for inflation, if we don't get those additional funds, we're really going to be in a spot where we have about half the budget that we've had in the past at a time when we need to get the message out there the most. So we encourage everybody to please contact your legislators and encourage them to include the funding for us that we need. Okay. So we're going to talk about all the different departments and how we market. And the key to our marketing really is research. We're a research-based program. So we wanted to have our research folks talk first. And today, Marlise is out in the state giving a presentation. So we've got Ashton English that's going to go over our research program. Take it away, Ashton.
What? Yeah, so the first slide here is just who is the research team at Visit NC. So you'll see Marlise Taylor there. She is the director of research, and she's actually on this call, but just having some internet connection issues. So we're just going to move along. And then myself, and there is our email addresses as well. Next slide is some research vendors we work with. So we have a lot of different data sources that we use all of these vendors on the slides for different types of research opportunities. And we partner with a lot of different vendors. So you'll see a couple of those on the slide. And some of the data I'm going to present here is a couple of those different vendors. And we also have research co-ops with those as well. So as Whit mentioned, our overarching goal is to be the #1 preferred leisure destination on the East Coast. That is a very competitive goal, but we feel that we can do it excluding Florida. So we will advance to the next one. So who are we trying to beat out? Essentially, all of the East Coast plus a couple more states. So you can see those listed there. So what type of things do we research? We really have two buckets of research opportunities. We have visitor research, so who they are, what they do, why they visit, where they're coming from, and how much they spend. And then we also have marketing research. So essentially our marketing campaigns, how effective they are, where we should be putting those ads, what time of year, how long we should be serving them for, etc. Economic impact of travel is something we get asked about a lot, and we kind of have a good setup here. So we do all 100 counties, and we do visitor spending in each of those counties through our visitor economy model, as well as our tourism satellite account, which monitors the different sectors that travel and visitation kind of puts in. So we say that tourism is an economy and that it kind of affects every single industry within the state. Here is a high-level look at lodging for 2024. As you can see, commercial lodging was up for the entire year. And then the other two were up as well for Airbnb and AirDNA rentals. And then Key Data, which is our vacation rentals, were down for 2024. Although it's not significant, we do continue to monitor those going into 2025. And then this is historical visitor spending through North Carolina. So in 2023, we saw record-breaking visitor spending at $35.6 billion, which is something we should be incredibly proud of. While international is still slow to come back and return to 2019 numbers, we do anticipate healthy growth in 2025. This shows historical tax generated in North Carolina. So in 2023, we did see strong state and local tax generated, and we continue to see that year after year, which is great. And then this slide is really impactful. So this shows that we hit peak numbers of $239 in tax saving per resident in North Carolina. The household comes to $518 with just 10.5 million residents to North Carolina. So this is a huge tax saving. So this really shows how beneficial tourism is to keep our services, businesses, and assets still at the same level, but not charging more in taxes. This is from our partner at Oxford Economics or Tourism Economics. This shows the top 10 counties in 2023 that saw increased visitor spending in 2023. And then it has their economic tier level on the right there. So we saw that Orange County saw a 13% increase in visitation in 2023. And then you can see the following 9 counties that saw the largest percent change. International data. So we do research the international market at Visit NC. And as you can see, these are the top 10 countries of origin for visitation in 2023, as well as the estimated visitors and spending and then average spending per visitor. We also research marketing campaigns. So our campaigns, and you'll see the last 2022 campaign and 2023 campaign for ad awareness, ad influence, visitor spending, and tax generated. And this is just the other aspects of things that we research as far as our marketing and co-op opportunities. Speaking of co-op research opportunities, we work with a lot of different partners. These are just an example of 2 partners that we work with Zardico and Key Data. But we work with a lot of different research partners and have many co-ops like Samari and OmniTrack and MMGY for the Portrait of an American Traveler. So if you ever have any questions or are looking for more research or opportunities, feel free to reach out to myself or Marlise Taylor, and we'll be happy to provide you any data that we have or get you plugged in with one of our research opportunities. And I'm going to hand it over to Scott Peacock. He is our Director of Marketing and Communications here at Visit NC, and he is going to walk you through his presentation.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me and see me? All right. Thanks, Ashton. As she said, everything we do is research-based in the marketing and communications team. So I first wanted to kind of introduce everybody. So this is our marketing and PR team. It's myself, Katie Bailey, Dana Grimstead on the marketing side, and then Vita Gilbert and Suzanne Brown on the PR side. So this is your team and your people. We'll talk a little bit about what the marketing team does, and then we'll jump into what the PR team does. The marketing team is in charge of domestic marketing. So all of our marketing and advertising efforts for the entire United States, and anything international is overseen by Heidi Walters, who will be joining us in a little bit. This is a little bit about where our partners spend their dollars. Whit mentioned earlier on the call that we primarily focus our efforts, 90+% of our efforts out of state, to bring out of state visitors into North Carolina. And this is why. This is data that shows all of the 100 counties and the DMOs, where do they typically spend their dollars? And you can see where the bulk of it is spent in state. And that's why our goal is to amplify and go out of state as much as we can to help everybody out. These are some of the markets that we advertise in. The existing markets, some fly markets that we're sort of testing that we've seen good results in, and then a couple of new markets that we've had in. We use our research every year to take a look at the markets that we might advertise in, and we're always looking for ways to deepen the amount of marketing we can do in a market to make sure we hit market penetration, which just means that we're advertising at a rate that's effective enough to get the majority of the travelers in that segment to come, and or to test some new markets and see how we can grow our map and get more visitors from longer distances to come visit North Carolina as well. How we go about that is our branding campaign. Whit mentioned that we're in charge of branding the state. And so our brand campaign right now is For Real, Visit North Carolina. That's the tagline, that's the campaign. The essence of it is that social media pressures, fabricated destinations, and manufactured fun have become the new norm for travelers. If you're looking for a richer experience, you need a real experience. So For Real, Visit North Carolina. Got a couple examples of some ads here that we're running. Our campaign is multi-channel, so we do TV ads, streaming video ads, audio ads, print ads, digital, social media, and the likes. But I thought to kind of give you an idea of what this campaign looks like, I'd just show you a couple of our TV spots.
In another city, travelers are waiting in line, thinking about the fun they'll have as soon as they're done waiting in line. Bless their hearts. For Real, Visit North Carolina. In another state, a foodie is hoping to find authentic barbecue. Sadly, they're in another state. For real, visit North Carolina. Elsewhere, the only lighthouse travelers see is on a bag of potato chips. For real, visit North Carolina. Elsewhere, tourists in a landlocked state
Good, right? That's pretty good. Told you.
are eating the world's best seafood because the sign said so. For real, visit North Carolina. Elsewhere, travelers have decided to ride out the winter with no Wonderland. For real, visit North Carolina. In a land far, far away, a family's fairy tale vacation is just that, a fairy tale. For real, visit North Carolina.
We have a lot of ads that we're running, and if you're curious and want to see more, take a look at this QR code, scan it, it'll take you to our YouTube page, or just go to YouTube and search Visit North Carolina, and you can find us there and take a look at all the different ads that we have running. So that's our campaign that we're running to promote the entire state up until Helene happened. And at that point, we realized that although we love that campaign and it's been extremely successful, as you saw from the data and the research, it's probably not the right message at the right time to be using to promote the mountains. So that campaign, the For Real campaign, is now currently our campaign that we're running for the Piedmont and the coastal regions. And what we're doing for the mountains is a new separate campaign where the tagline, instead of For Real, Visit North Carolina, is our best way to get back is for you to come back. It's really pulling on the heartstrings, tugging at that, making sure people know that we do want and need and are welcoming visitors back again. And that's the best way they can help with economic recovery, is to come and travel and visit and spend their money in the state. So this campaign and the slide that you're seeing right now just shows you a little bit of some of that creative that we're using for the mountain region and how it's a little bit different. Still has that same look and feel, but it's a different tone than our For Real campaign. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's how we're currently using our marketing and branding efforts. We also do sub campaigns. So aside from our big brand campaign, we're always looking at cool, fun things that we can do to lift up different aspects of the state. And so one thing that we launched last year is our First in Fright campaign. It's our first ever podcast series. And it's really a chance for us to do two things. One, lift up some of the cool, unexplainable, spooky at times, and paranormal activities that happen in North Carolina, and also lift up some of our storytellers in North Carolina. No one tells a story better than an awesome North Carolinian. So these are some examples of true stories that are relived and told through storytellers in a podcast episode that really is meant to kind of get people and to start thinking about, ooh, that's kind of cool and interesting. It's not really meant to be an overt travel message. It's really just to entertain you. And then at that point, think about, like, maybe I would like to come and see and experience some of this stuff for myself. So this is an example, a most recent example, one of our many campaigns that we run as well. We've also got our social media efforts that we oversee. These are the different social media platforms that we're on. Our handle is @VisitNC. Give us a follow if you are not there. We also offer co-op opportunities where you can take over our social media accounts to get exposure on any one of our platforms as well. We also have an e-news strategy that we deploy and have spent a lot of effort in the last year and a half in really beefing up and ramping up. So we have over 175,000 people that subscribe to our Travel Insider e-newsletter that we send out on a monthly basis. And we're working to segment that list into different sub-newsletters and subtopics, depending on people's interest levels, to even continue to grow that further. So that's something that we do as well. And we also produced the official travel guide for North Carolina. This is the cover that's on this year's issue. It just hit newsstands at the first part of the year. And there's a main cover as well as a coastal cover and a mountain cover that you get all in one package. So this is something that we offer. And if you're interested in advertising in that and promoting your destination or your attraction or your business, you can certainly reach out to us. There's opportunities for that as well. But this is the official travel guide. It's distributed in all the 9 welcome centers across the state, as well as mailed out to hundreds of thousands of people every year that reach out to us and would like to request a copy. You can also find it at our airports around the state. So look for it next time you guys are flying if you haven't seen it. We also have a partner co-op program that Whit mentioned. So we offer more than 50 programs to help you with everything from visitor research and data to social media and advertising, media relations efforts, our Outdoor and Sea initiative, which Heidi Walters will speak about shortly, our own website, visitandsea.com, and how you can get content and information out there on our website that's more prominently featured and shown to visitors. The e-news that I mentioned, photo and video asset collection. So if you're looking to do photography or video work for your business or your attraction or your destination, we have some programs where you can help do that at a really affordable rate and a lot more opportunities. This brochure is put together every year, and the programs are up on our website, which is partners.visitnc.com, and you can find the latest information there. We divide it out into a funnel. So of all those 50 programs, we kind of take a look at what's their role in affecting people to travel. Is it something that's really helping with the awareness part of the cycle, the consideration set, where they're aware of you, but they're really now making that choice of where they go? The conversion, getting them to actually book and come, or is it something that's maybe going to help travelers once they're in your destination or your area to spend more and stay longer and have a better experience? So we organize the book and the opportunities that we sell, over 50 of them, into the different levels of this funnel. That's kind of the easiest way that we've been able to dissect it recently. It's been really successful. So we'd love to always talk to people about how we can help them, as Whit said, to do some of their marketing and advertising and PR efforts. And then our public relations team. So our public relations team is strong but mighty. Every year we're out there working with travel writers and food writers to generate stories and coverage about North Carolina as a destination and a place to visit. This data was actually from 23. We aren't sharing the 24 data yet, but we were up, as you would hopefully be not surprised to hear. But this is just a snippet of how much stories that we are placing every year with travel and food writers around the world, and how much total reach that has. So our job is to really be an amplifier and storyteller of your message. And our PR team is a great example of that. Here's some of the key messages that we look for. So these are some of the stories that we're most looking to tell to travel and food writers around the world: arts, culture, culinary, outdoors, sports, multi-generational, sustainability, and diversity and inclusion, and then growth and innovation in some of our key urban areas are all things that are really important to travel writers and things that we can weave North Carolina easily into a story. We also offer regional media missions. So we allow people to sign up and show interest in different markets that they're interested in, perhaps going and visiting and meeting with local travel and food writers that live in those markets. And then depending on how many people we have interested, we try to match you up and see if we can get you into one of these missions. They're usually a smaller group event. We bring anywhere from 6 to at max maybe 8 partners with us. So these are the missions that we're doing this year. We already had a Miami mission, which is an extremely important market for the mountain region in particular. Washington, D.C. is coming up, and then New York City and Atlanta. So every year we offer, 4 or so media missions and try to bring as many partners as we can into those markets to go meet with travel and food writers, talk about our destinations and our attractions and our places in North Carolina. And the end goal is to then encourage them to come visit us and write a story after meeting with us in person in their home, in their neck of the woods. We also offer an in-state media mission. This one's open to a lot more people. This one is open to a lot more destinations and attractions. It's always held in the Triangle every year in the fall, usually in September. It just depends on the venue and where we're at, but usually in the month of September. And that's another great opportunity to meet with travel and food writers from within North Carolina. We bring them all into the Triangle and then have you guys come and meet with them as well here in person. So even if you can't afford or are not interested in those out-of-state markets, this in-state media mission is extremely valuable and a really easy way just to continue to get the word out there and get in front of some travel writers and content creators here in North Carolina. Examples of some of the coverage that we do stories about, again, places to experience, places to travel, places to eat. And so these are just some of the more recent examples of coverage that our PR team has been able to generate to kind of give you an example of the type of things that we do. We've been doing a lot of efforts since the hurricane. So in addition to that general travel promotion, we're always here for crisis communications and natural disaster response. So these are some of the things that we've been working on ever since Helene has hit the state. We've also been out there working hard and even more aggressively with crisis communications since the storm to talk about places to visit and travel with things like the Weather Channel, which oftentimes are showing footage of areas that look devastated that have recovered a little bit past the date of that footage. So we're always here to work on natural disasters and coordinate with a lot of different state agencies to do that. And now I'm gonna hand it over to Guy Gaster, the director of the North Carolina Film Office.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Hope everyone is enjoying what they're seeing and learning more about our team as a whole. I am going to talk a little bit about our film recruitment activities. The film office is currently myself as a director, and then we have another full-time employee who serves as a film services specialist, helping those productions that we've recruited to the state, help them through once they're on the ground here. And getting past some of the red tape and permits that they may need. Again, just being of assistance where we can. So about us, what do we do? Similar to Visit NC and looking to bring out-of-state visitors into North Carolina, the film office focuses on bringing out-of-state productions into North Carolina. So we are marketing the state and looking for those projects that have their funding in place and they're ready to go and are looking for where they will actually shoot the production. We do keep a statewide locations database, and we help represent, we work with regional film commissions. There are 3 regional film commissions in our state. One is based in the Wilmington area and covers the majority of the southeastern part of the state. The other is in the Piedmont Triad, based in Winston-Salem, with an office also in Greensboro and High Point, and they cover that regional county area. And then the third is in the Charlotte area, and they're part of the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority, and they represent that 16 county, I believe it is 16 Greater Charlotte metro area. So those areas, if we didn't mention that, the state itself keeps a locations database to help represent your area and help pitch those areas for consideration for productions. We also maintain a statewide crew directory. These are the film professionals who work within the industry, and this directory can be accessed for those bigger projects that we talk a lot about, which would be TV series or streaming series and feature-length films. But also we help travel shows that will be coming in, and those shows may need someone to work for a week or less, and that directory is a great place to send them so that they can find those crew members to help out while they're here. We also assist with permits for the productions with various state agencies, mostly the Department of Transportation and state parks. And then we serve as a general resource, information resource for the production. So again, someone may say, we're interested in filming in this specific park. Who is it that has jurisdiction over that? Who do we need to talk to about filming there? And so we do help serve as that resource and keep the information on file so that we can get people with the production in touch with the appropriate people as quickly as possible so they can discuss how they might use those locations, what it would mean, and get contracts in place. Our biggest recruitment tool is our 25% rebate. This is offered through a program labeled the North Carolina Film and Entertainment Grant. This program is a true rebate, despite it having grant in the name. No monies are paid out up front. So it is paid once a production has completed all their business in the state. They have to have an audit done before any funds are paid. And then once that audit is returned, along with some other closeout items, they are essentially rebated up to 25% of what they spent in the state. So if we have a feature-length film who spends $16 million in the state, they're getting $4 million back, if you will. That is a key, again, our biggest tool in our tool belt in this recruitment process. You can see a little bit more on some of the minimum spends and the maximum payouts that are offered. And the last part is currently right now we have a starting allocation of $31 million. That's not meant that we can only award $31 million or only pay out $31 million a year, but it is a starting figure with the state budget annually. So how successful has it been, or how much production does the state have? You can see here a look since 2011 on how much productions have spent directly in the state. And similar to some other dollar figures you've heard us talk about, these millions that are listed here are spent directly by the state. This does not have a multiplier effect there. So you can see our high was in 2021 when more than 416 million was spent. This was an unusual spike for us as a result of the industry, like many others, shutting down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And there was a rush to get new content created and get caught back up once there were ways forward to continue to do business and safety measures were in place. Most recently, we had $302 million spent last year. This is a figure where we're moving the state towards, or moving the industry towards, and feel this is a figure that we should be at more regularly. So I hope that when you come to things like the Visit NC tourism conference or other events where we're speaking, that you'll see more years on this chart being closer to that 302 million. That said, that was such a high note. I'd be remiss if I didn't say we're off to a little bit of a slow start in 2025. We'll talk a little bit more about that as part of an upcoming webinar where we give a quarterly update for Visit NC as a whole. But there are some factors that have played into it that are out of the state's control, where production is slow across the U.S. But you'll see we've already got 16 million committed to North Carolina. And as you would likely expect, the number of job opportunities that are created does somewhat parallel to the amount of money spent within the state. So here are those job figures. And that's really what that rebate program is about, creating those jobs and also creating spending within local communities. So as far as the grant itself, please note on this map that this information is just based on grant recipients, people who have received the rebate. We work with other projects that do not qualify for the grant and certainly have had filming and film-related spending in other parts of the state that maybe aren't reflected on this map in that way. But this is related to those who have received the state incentive. That kind of salmon pinkish color, if you will, is where both filming and spending related to filming have taken place. The navy reflects where filming may not have taken place, but spending did. So they've hired people from that county, or they've spent monies with businesses in that county. So it really is one over 86 counties, excuse me, 86, not over, 86 counties have had some sort of film-related activity taking place that has been the result of the state's incentive program. So as you work in your jobs, you might be asking, how can you be part, or what can you do to help in the film recruitment process and be part of this industry? Where we always are looking for ideas is suggesting locations, particularly ones that may be unique that are in your areas. We've regularly had needs for something as simple as forest areas that are primarily privately owned, so that there isn't as much red tape regarding if someone would like to film in that forest area. But we also look for those unique locations. Do you happen to have a castle like building that is in your area? Is there some other unique architecture that's there? We have had places reach out to us, tourism offices. I will say we like the ugly as much as the beautiful. So if you have a business that recently closed down, or a factory, or something that your community may consider an eyesore, someone within the film industry may absolutely love that because they have a project that's depicting a dystopian kind of feel, and so need something that's more run down. So any sort of location suggestions you have, we're always open to receiving those. You can also encourage your local businesses to register in our support services directory. Just like that crew directory, when we have productions come into the state, we also send them to our support services directory so that they can find film-friendly businesses that want to do business with this industry and somewhat understand the demands and the quick turnarounds that come with working with a film project. Excuse me. And then finally, we could use your help in identifying key local contacts, specifically for permitting. This, in many cases, can be town or city managers, but it's also helpful for us to know who within local parks and recreation departments may be helpful. Both, I said town and city managers, but county managers also play a key role. And then if there are those unique locations, again, I'll use that castle example, not only sharing that, hey, yes, we've got this castle, but who would be responsible for a production reaching out to talk more about possibly using that castle. So those are three ways in particular that anyone within the tourism industry can help out the North Carolina Film Office and our recruitment efforts. With that, I am very happy to bring up Heidi Walters to talk a little more about our PIR team and being involved with them.
Great. Thanks, Guy. And good morning, everyone. I am bringing up the rear here, so you stick with me for just a couple more minutes, and then we'll have some great Q&A, hopefully. So what does the Partner in Industry team do? We are specifically tasked. Nope, you can go back. Go back. Thank you. We're tasked with sort of going through third party, not direct to consumer as much. So here's our team, and I'm going to delve into what each of these folks do. But myself, Amanda Baker, Andre Neighbors, and Kathy Prickett, if you have not met them, please try to seek them out. They are a wealth of knowledge, and we will all be at the conference. And now you can go to the next slide, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the programs that we sort of oversee or develop. And many of these are really based on how can we promote and amplify your messages. So as I go through this, many of the things that we do came out of suggestions from you all that said, we would like to do these things. How can you help us? So we do tourism development. Andre, well, we all do tourism development, but Andre will come into your communities and help you figure out, what could I build or what could I do here that might help attract visitors to our area? He's happy to do that. He also oversees our Retire NC program, which is a certified retirement program, which we have like 14 members now, communities. And it's great because, as you'll see later, Andre gets out and talks to feeder markets about where they can retire. And they know if it's a certified retirement community, they know they have certain basic things that they need. The Outdoor NC program, I'll talk a lot about that coming up. That is our stewardship program for our outdoor spaces. We also market the eSports grant for the Department of Commerce. So if anyone is interested in doing eSport productions, we do have a grant that is similar to what Guy described as his film grant. We also do group travel. So if anyone is looking for group travel, we can help you with that. And sports event marketing, we work with the North Carolina Sports Association. I'll talk a little bit about that moving forward. We do community outreach. Every 4 times a year, we do what's called a destination immersion, and I will talk about that as we move forward. This department also oversees sort of the industry leadership and our travel and tourism board. And then finally, international marketing, which is primarily what I do. And I will talk a little bit about how we do that. Thank you. So one of the things we've really been working hard on is the North Carolina Civil Rights Trail, as well as the U.S. Civil Rights Trail, because we've got great things happening. Probably the most well-known is the Greensboro 4 and the sit-in, at the lunch counter at Woolworth. So we are working very hard with a lot of our North Carolina partners to make sure that we have all the right civil rights trail attractions in this trail that we can help to promote. So if any of you do have things that you think are very important, make sure that someone on our team, primarily Andre oversees this, but you can email any of us and tell us what you have and how we can help you promote that. And then the next big thing is America's 250. And, you know, being one of the original, not just original states, but one of the original settlements, we have a lot to talk about in our 250 years as the US. So we are already ramping up with some pre-events, but obviously 2026 is going to be the big year. And we are working with the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. They do have some grants and some other things that they're doing. So if you like more information about that, again, please contact us and we will be happy to connect the dots for you. We heard you a few years ago. You're like, we really want to do some travel and adventure consumer shows, but we don't really want to do it on our own, which is great because that is the perfect amplification is here we are as a state, and then our partners can join in these shows and still have the big awareness because sometimes, you know, we all have, everybody in the South has a Fayetteville, right? Every state in the South has a Fayetteville. Every state in the South pretty much has a Greenville or a Columbus or something like that. So going as the state really helps us bring the big brand there, and then you can participate in those as well. And here you can see some of the great numbers that we have year after year after year. So always very, very highly attended shows. And then I mentioned the retirement program. We also do shows around the retirement in some of those key markets where we see the most retirees choosing to move here. And we did a study a few years ago with NC State to think about how is this a visitor program? Well, we thought that people visited 3 to 5 times before they chose to retire, but really it's more like 7 or more times before they decide to retire. So it's really key for these retirement communities to be part of this and to also attend these shows because we know where the people are coming from. And so we are very, very, very specific about our target and try to get them here. We produce a great guide as well. It is at the welcome centers. We send it out after the shows to thousands and thousands of people. So just a really interesting program that we do that attracts folks that are looking to retire. And, you know, many of these people will then start a new business in your areas. So good program. I mentioned destination immersion. So 4 times a year, we bring pretty much everybody on our staff to a destination to do a full 24-hour immersion. And we will go around and you will show us everything that you want us to see. And then we'll sit down and talk about our programs, what your needs are, and how we can balance the two to amplify your messaging. So we have them all set for 2025 already. But if you are interested, Kathy Prickett oversees this program for us, and we can get you on the schedule. I think that, you know, partners have said it's just been really great to have us in your market because out of 100 counties, that's a lot for us to know everything that's going on. But there are so many ways that we do that, and this is just one of them. Outdoor and Sea. So I did mention Outdoor and Sea is our stewardship initiative, and this came from partners as well. Partners were seeing more and more visitors going to our outdoor spaces in just during the pandemic and just after the pandemic, when they couldn't go play soccer or they couldn't go to the mall or wherever, and they were just starting to go outside. Well, because North Carolina has always been known for its natural beauty and soft adventure, we have so many of these beautiful outdoor destinations that we would like to keep that way. So we heard you, and we heard you you say they just don't know how to behave. And we realize people aren't doing it because they want to misbehave. They just don't know. So it's sort of like if you were learning to play golf, you took golf lessons. Well, the golf lessons are going to teach you the technique, right? But they're not going to teach you how to play ready golf. That's what this is. This is teaching you how to be responsible in our outdoor areas, whether they be at the beach, in the Piedmont, just in your backyard on your greenway, or in the mountain region. So we focus on stewardship, we focus on responsible travel, we talk about sustainable tourism as well, and spreading it out. You know, not everybody needs to go to the same park on the same day every year. We all love Earth Day, but it gets crowded out there. So spreading it out and making it sustainable for everyone. So through that, we first came up with the Outdoor NC Alliance, which is a buy-in for partners. They can buy in on several different levels to get certain things out of the Outdoor NC, whether it be signage or just blog posts or an itinerary on a website. Lots of different offerings there. We also have Accessible Outdoors, which is open to everyone, whether you are an alliance partner or not. Every one of our partners can access our toolkit on Accessible Outdoors. And things that there are ways to measure, are your places accessible? How are they accessible? And it not necessarily has to be ADA compliant, but just being transparent about what it is and what it isn't. So there are those tools we have for you as well. And then we have done, last year launched a Trail Town designation. Our first year we had 15 partners in the Trail Town program, and we have signed on another 13 for this coming year. And it just is a way for you all to talk about, here's the trails we have, whether they be outdoor trails or cultural trails. Here are the trails we have, and here's some of the criteria. Here's a great picture of it's just an online Trail Town guide. But it has great information in it, and check it out. If you just Google North Carolina Trail Town Guide, it will come up and you'll get some great information about these 15 communities so far. And Amanda Baker oversees all of that outdoor for us. So she would be your point of contact if you want more information. Okay, go ahead. And then we talk about international. Excuse me. We have been promoting international travel now for well over 20 years. While we don't have as many international visitors, the ones we do have stay longer and spend more money. So for many years, we only worked in 3 markets, in Canada, Germany, and the UK. But since Travel South has really taken a direction to promote the South as a destination internationally, it has opened up so many more markets for us. And now I believe it's a total of 12 markets or regions that we now get our messaging out in. And every month we are doing newsletters with these countries that go out to travel trade and to travel media. So we are always putting news out there every single month. And we also will have some co-ops this year as far as international goes. So keep a lookout for that. We will announce those at conference as well. But here are just some examples of what we've done recently. We worked with Top Golf around the US Open last year. So we did a lot of promotion in the UK around golf. And we also work with Travelzoo. And then the bigger picture that you see there is actually our webpage on visittheusa.com, which is the Brand USA program. And this gets translated into several languages and is our main point of action for international. We send them to this page. Other things that we do, we do missions, we do trade shows, we have fam tours here. We do just about everything to get the message out that North Carolina is open and a great place for international visitation. And I think that's all for me. I'm going to toss it back over to Whit to close us out.
All right. Thanks a lot, Heidi. That's a quick look at what we do, about as quick as we can do it. But the main message we want to get across is that we work for you. So we're here to serve you. And as Heidi said, we'll come up with programs that fit your needs. So we want you to always communicate with us. Our staff is always available, email or phone call. The best place to catch us will be at our annual tourism conference, the Visit NC Tourism Conference, coming up April 6th to the 8th at the Hickory Metro Convention Center. Great seats are still available. I encourage you to apply now to register. Hotels are going fast, so you want to get those applications in as soon as possible. We are always available, but we'll take questions now too. Guy, do you want to lead us on some Q&A?
Yes, happy to. One of the first questions came in related to the marketing side, and it was, as we move forward, how do you decide which target areas are receiving messages about mountain recovery versus the general For Real campaign messaging?
Yeah, it's a good question. So right now, all of our mountain promotions is the recovery messaging. We're not doing any For Real campaign messaging and advertising for the mountain regions. And what we're going to do is use the research that Marlise and Ashton are compiling for us with some of our research vendors that we get on a monthly basis to take a look at visitor sentiment. And once we feel like we have moved the needle enough on visitor sentiment and visitors are more open and wanting to come visit the mountains again, and we don't have to continue to push the message of we're open and we need you, then we'll try to make that flip and get the mountains back into the normal For Real campaign as soon as humanly possible. But we're going to let the data kind of drive that decision. Right now, we feel like they still need a little bit of coaxing and a little bit of confidence that the areas are open and safe and that the visitor experience they'll have there is pretty unaffected and will be the same that it used to be. That's getting a little bit better. The last 3 months of research has shown that we are chipping away at that. So it's getting better every month. And once it really hits that threshold and we're seeing visitation start to return at a normal rate, and we don't need to be as overt with the please come visit, we're safe and welcoming, we'll flip it. So good question.
And Scott didn't mention because I limited his amount of that he could speak, but we also, we took a look. We did some research with our current campaign in the Piedmont and the coast in those areas to see if that was an effective message or if we needed it to go out with a hurricane response message in the Piedmont and the coast, because some of the research showed us that people thought the entire state was impacted. And what that research found was that our current campaign actually did a great job of generating travel. And so for the coast and the Piedmont, we are just hitting with the regular message. It's the mountains right now that have that recovery message. And as Scott said, we'll adjust it as the research shows.
Great. There was a question related to international travel. It says, noticed on the chart that Canada is our top international market, but overseas travel seems to spend more. Can you go into why that may be?
Sure, happy to. Well, Canada is an international market, but they are a drive market. So they tend to come down more often, come to different places, and possibly not stay as long in the US as our international travelers. For those overseas travelers, they do have a higher spend because they come for longer. They spend more money buying souvenirs, buying food, buying everything. And, a typical international trip is 14 to 21 days for overseas long haul travel. And North Carolina typically will get probably 6 or 7 of those days. And we're really happy with that because we know they don't visit one state, they visit the South, right? So that's why the spend is higher.
Okay. Thank you. Hope that covers that with you. Next one. How do I find out more information about working with the welcome centers or I think I've heard you all talk about a call center?
Yeah, I can handle that. So when we were split off from the Department of Commerce 10 years ago, the welcome centers and our North Carolina call center, 1-800-VISIT-NC, remained in the Department of Commerce. So we still work with them. They're just a different department. So we've got that on our partner website, which is partners.visitnc.com. And you can go on that site and you can get the contact. Wally Wazan is the contact for all the welcome centers. We encourage you to host the Welcome Center staff whenever you can. It's great for them to get out and see areas of the state. We also encourage people to go to the call center. Many of you may not know our Visit NC call center is hosted at the North Carolina Women's Prison here in Raleigh. And so they can't come to see you, but you can go see them and give them lots of information on what's new at your destination. It's very helpful. Wally was on, coordinates all that, and we can get you his contact information. But it is really great. The Welcome Centers alone see about 7 million people every year. So it's a great to get your name and have them know exactly what's going on at your destination.
Great. There was one that said, I think it was maybe more of a hint for us, but could you give the Visit NC Tourism Conference date and location again?
Yeah, happy to do that. So it's April 6th to the 8th. Coming on a Sunday, we'll release the co-op program for the new fiscal on Sunday through the 8th at the Hickory Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thanks, somebody there just put Wally was on's contact in there. Wally will be at the conference as well. That conference is a great opportunity to meet with the staff, to learn about what we're doing, but not just what we're doing. We bring in experts to talk about the latest in marketing and AI, social media, all those kind of things. So we really look forward to hosting everybody there. As I said, hotels are filling up, so you can get to there at, I just posted it, conference.visitnc.com. We'll get you the link there where you can register. And we look forward to seeing everybody in Hickory coming up April 6th to the 8th.
Hey, Whit, do you want to mention that we're going to have like a meet and greet with staff there? Yes,
thank you, Heidi. I knew I was forgetting something. We are going to do for first timers and for people who aren't as familiar with the industry, we're going to do a reception. This is the first time we've done that this year. We'll have staff available and everybody will get to do a little meet and greet. And if you want to get a mentor through the conference, we can do that as well. So we'll have that on the first night, Sunday afternoon, when we do the co-op program. So looking forward to seeing everybody there.
Very good. Before we close out, just a quick reminder, these partner webinars, for those who haven't been following the whole time, they do take place the second Thursday of each month here at 10 a.m. You can find information about the webinar on our partner site, partners.visitnc.com. And then also it is included in NewsLink, which is a weekly newsletter that is sent out that hopefully you're all receiving. If by chance you are not, please reach out to us and we will get you added to that distribution list. But our next webinar will be March 13th, again, 10 a.m. and we'll be doing a Visit NC quarterly report. So some of the same faces that you've seen will be here, but we'll be going into a little more depth on possibly some of the information related to end of 2024 and how things are going so far in the first quarter of 2025. Whit, any closing remarks or anything?
Well, that's it. Thanks everybody for joining. As always, you can email or call any of us, and we appreciate everything you do.
Thanks, everyone. We hope to see you again. And again, you can catch, if you have a colleague or someone you think would be good to see this and learn more about Visit NC, a recording of this will be made available on our partners YouTube channel. And again, you can also reach out to any of us and we can help direct you and introduce ourselves to those individuals. Have a great day.